While the NFL draft is going to make some dreams come true for some of these rookies, we can't ignore the darker side of the NFL draft, and that is the veteran players who maybe are about to see their jobs be lost and maybe their careers begin to end or decline. I got some running backs here that I'm pretty nervous about heading into the NFL draft. I'm very worried these guys could get replaced by a rookie. And now I don't think Chase Brown is going to get outright replaced by a rookie, but I think Chase Brown's role is going to get severely diminished by a rookie. Now, if you've been following Endgame for really the last couple of years, ever since Chase Brown was drafted, we've been big proponents of Chase Brown, saying, hey, this is a guy you got to pick with your late round picks. Of course, he was behind Joe Mixon to start his career, could never really break away from Joe Mixon. Then last year was splitting with Zach Moss early in the year, but finally it paid off after that Zach Moss injury. We saw what Chase Brown can be when he was fully unleashed as the lead running back. Was an absolute league winner for fantasy football, but this is not really what Chase Brown is built for. He's not built for 90% of the snaps, almost every single touch. It worked out last year, but I think the Bengals understand this as well. Look, even last year they traded for Khalil Herbert. He just wasn't it, right? He couldn't cut it. They know they need to get some help for Chase Brown. He can't be a 90% snap guy. And they've already had pre-draft visits with guys like Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. If either of those guys land in Cincinnati, that is going to really cap Chase Brown's ceiling. And I think Travion Henderson would be pretty close to maybe not that kiss of death, but that would be worst case scenario for Chase Brown, because Henderson obviously a fantastic pass catching back, and that is where Chase Brown really got a lot of his fantasy value from last year, but also one of the best pass protecting, pass blocking backs in this class, and that would really limit Chase Brown's third down snaps. Regardless, I do think we're going to see the Bengals go running back at some point, maybe not in the first round, but maybe with that second round pick, maybe even that third round pick, we could see the Bengals go with one of those running backs who at the very least becomes the early down lead down back with Chase Brown again in that kind of change of pace role, or at worst, a guy that can take over that third down role. So either way, I think Chase Brown's value is going to drop a bit after the NFL draft. Currently being drafted as the RB12 in fantasy football. That seems a little optimistic for me. So I don't think Chase Brown is going to obviously outright lose his job, be out of the NFL. But I think we're going to see more of what we saw Chase Brown earlier in last year rather than late last year. And then a running back, I'll be honest, I'm still willing to take shots on Rhamondre Stevenson in drafts because he's going so late, but there's also a part of me that understands this guy could get replaced in the NFL draft. Sure, he signed that extension, which is usually good for a running back, but remember, that was with Jared Mayo and that coaching staff, not with Mike Vrabel. He's not Mike Vrabel's guy here. I could certainly see him getting replaced in the NFL draft. The Patriots have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, so certainly plenty of opportunities for them to draft a running back in this class. I think, best case for Rhamondre, they draft a pass catching only type of back, and now he's the lead back. But worst case, they could draft a guy who could be a third down back, and now we see a true 50-50 two-headed monster. Or worse, maybe the rookie just outperforms Rhamondre Stevenson, because let's be real, outside of that 1 year, Rhamondre Stevenson's just kind of been as a football player, as a running back. He's fine, but he's not an elite talent or anything. So certainly Rhamondre Stevenson, again, I will still take shots on him late in these underdog best ball drafts because he goes so late that if the Patriots don't do anything significant at running back, he's going to come out as a huge winner. But it wouldn't shock me one bit if they do something at running back and Rhamondre Stevenson's a big loser coming out of the draft. Now, it's a little bit unfair to call DeAndre Swift a loser, even though it feels like his career has fallen very, very short of the expectations he had coming out of college. Certainly hasn't lived up to that. And look, if he could go into 2025 as the lead back for Chicago, maybe he would be a winner here, right? Ben Johnson, a beefed up O-line, but it's very unlikely he's going to be the lead back going into 2025. The Bears have 3 picks in the top 41 picks. You got to think Ben Johnson wants to get a running back. We saw it before. They took Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit, of course, not in Chicago. They took Jahmyr Gibbs, that number 10 pick. He wants that kind of player, and there are plenty of those type of running backs, maybe not to the caliber of a Jahmyr Gibbs, but similar type of running backs available in this draft. You got to think they're going running back with one of those picks. And I really believe if Ashton Jeanty is still there at number 10, they are absolutely pulling the trigger on Jeanty, and that would just completely, crush any chance for DeAndre Swift in 2025. And honestly, we got to think that, this guy has been on, 3 different teams the last 3 years, right? Lions, then the Eagles, then the Bears. You got to start to wonder how many more years does this guy even have in the NFL. I think DeAndre Swift is going to be, we're going to look back at him and one of those guys like, man, what happened? How did it not work out? And I don't think it's going to work out for him in 2025. Whether it's Genty or some other running back, high-end running back, I think he's definitely going to get replaced. And it kind of feels the same with Travis Etienne. I mean, he did have that one nice year a couple years ago, but man, this guy has not really lived up to his draft expectations so far. Last year, he basically lost his job to Tank Bigsby, and Tank Bigsby was just flat out better than Travis Etienne. And all we've heard this offseason is the Jaguars wanted to trade Travis Etienne. It's going to be hard to do that. Maybe they'll just sell low at some point. I don't know, but I could definitely see the Jaguars going running back at some point. They have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. Would not surprise me one bit if they take a running back. And the problem for Travis Etienne is what we saw last year was when Tank Bigsby was healthy, he was the preferred early down option, with Travis Etienne playing more of that change of pace role. Well, what if they just decide to draft a change of pace running back in this draft class and keep Tank Bigsby in that lead role, which I think is likely? And now Travis Etienne gets replaced even in that change of pace role. It doesn't look like the Jaguars really love Travis Etienne anyways. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of teams out there really willing to give up anything, honestly, for Travis Etienne at this point. So I think Travis Etienne kind of going the same way as DeAndre Swift, a guy we're going to look at and say like, hey, the talent is there, but really, is it? Like, where is the production? The production just doesn't follow. Maybe he'll end up on a new team this year. Maybe he'll be stuck in like a 3-headed committee in Jacksonville. Maybe he'll just be on the bench. I don't know. But Travis Etienne, not feeling good about him going into the 2025 NFL draft. The Jaguars certainly have the opportunity to select a high-end running back in this draft class and make him borderline irrelevant. And then last year, a rookie that kind of got some buzz was Tyrone Tracy Jr. of the Giants. But, I mean, let's be real. He was okay. Nothing special as a prospect. Certainly had fumbling issues, which never sits well with your own team. Now, we know the Giants are almost certainly going to go QB at number 3, and if not QB, maybe Travis Hunter if he falls. It's unlikely they're going to go running back at number 3. I really, really doubt it, but you got to think after letting Saquon Barkley walk and then watching him help the Eagles win a Super Bowl, they want to address that position again. And they do have pick 34 and pick 65 in this draft. They could certainly grab a running back with one of those picks, maybe even pick 34 early second, which could be, one of those high-end guys like a Travion Henderson, something like that, like a Quinshon Judkins, whoever they like in that spot right there, whoever, they feel is best for their team. And that could, of course, make Tyrone Tracy irrelevant. Let's remember, this guy was not a running back in college. This guy is not like an elite, running back prospect. And again, he had major fumbling issues last year, so it's not like they feel secure with this guy. I think he's very replaceable in this draft, especially if they get the QB, like if they get Shedeur. I doubt they're going to get Cam Ward. It sounds like he's going number 1, but let's say they get Shedeur at 3. They signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. They feel pretty good at QB. They've got an elite wide receiver in Malik Neighbors. They need to bolster that running game. I could certainly see them doing it. And if they do, Tyrone Tracy, hey, it was fun for a little bit last year, but it was great knowing you. See you later. And there's some running backs that aren't quite as fantasy relevant, but let's talk about the Dallas running backs, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. I mean, it feels like these guys, their careers are over anyways, honestly. And I know some people buying back in because, hey, it's Dallas. Oh my gosh, it's Dallas. But come on, these guys were 2 of the worst running backs by almost every metric last year. And this is not the Dallas offensive line, back when Zeke was running wild, a top 5 offensive line. It's still okay, but it's certainly not elite. And these guys are the definition of replaceable. And you got to think, last year, after just ignoring all the running backs, not doing anything in the NFL draft, watching Saquon go nuts, watching Derrick Henry go nuts, and watching, Rico Dowdle was okay. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to let that happen again this year. They're certainly going to go running back at some point. And look, if Genty goes at pick 10 or earlier to some team and Amarion Hampton is on the board when they come up at number 12, I could absolutely see them grabbing Hampton there. If they don't grab Hampton, they still have other picks in the first 3 rounds where they can grab a running back, and I absolutely think they are going to do it. And it is not going to take much for any of these rookie running backs to beat out guys like Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. So I think whoever the Cowboys draft at running back, unless like last year they shock us all and just punt the position again, I think whoever it is going to have a clear path to being the workhorse running back in this offense. I'm not in on Javonte or Miles Sanders at all in this Cowboys offense. I think they are absolutely going to be replaced. And we're not even going to be talking about these guys by the end of 2025. And I feel even more strongly we're not going to be talking about Audric Estime or Jaleel McLaughlin by the end of 2025. You got to think the Broncos are going to address running back. It might not be with their first round pick. It could be. You never know how the draft plays out. You never know who could fall to them at 20. Maybe somebody they really like falls to them at 20 that they didn't expect and they pull the trigger. But I do think they're going to go running back at some point early in this draft, day 1, day 2. Look, that running game, of course, they had Javonte Williams, that hurt, but that running game was horrible last year, one of the worst, despite Denver having one of the better offensive lines according to Pro Football Focus. It's not like the offensive line was the issue. The running game was the issue. We know Sean Payton wants that running game. He wants pass-catching type of backs. I think if we get to round 2, round 3, and one of these good pass-catching backs, kind of do-it-all backs, are available for the Broncos, Sean Payton is not going to be able to help himself. He's going to pull the trigger. And again, it's Audric Estime. It's Jaleel McLaughlin. These are not world beaters. These are not elite running backs. This is not a hard running back room to separate yourself from if you're one of these talented running backs. This is such a good running back class. There are so many running backs that could go to Denver and instantly be the best running back on this team. So Audric Estime, yeah, people had high hopes for him last year. Jaleel McLaughlin kind of feels like one of those PPR streaming type of guys. But I think those days are over. And by the end of 2025, we're not even going to be talking about those guys. But we are going to be talking about some rookies, right? Some of these rookies are going to be drafted and land in fantastic landing spots. And I broke down where I think the best landing spots possible could be for some of the top rookies. You can find out where they are in this video right here.